I just read the National Security Strategy of the United States. It's a document that lays out what the leaders of the United States think we should do in the world. It's a strategy to secure stability, prosperity, and freedom of our own citizens and the world. In summary, it says we should secure American interests by remaining the most powerful economy and military. I think we need an entirely new strategy. The current economy primarily benefits a few elites. Our strategy should be to change the world economy to share resources so we all benefit, instead of just being dominant in the current economy. Increased economic prosperity will benefit everyone to some degree, but under the current economy, profits are accumulated by few individuals. The top 10% own 67% of the wealth, and the bottom 50% own 2.5% of the wealth. This economy doesn't benefit everyone regardless of how dominant it is. Furthermore, this document presents a strategy for dominance in a world system where countries compete for resources, and some have a lot less than others. The United States is currently the wealthiest country, and it wants to stay that way. But instead of trying to establish dominance in an unequal system, the US should lead a push to organize the economy so that countries and individuals divide resources evenly. International and local governments can allocate resources. People argue that government ownership is authoritarian, but currently ownership is very concentrated. Ownership by a government in which citizens determine policy is the best way I can think of to spread ownership democratically through society. Some people also argue that planning by government would be inefficient. I think we can use the same information gathering and production planning methods that we use now, except by boards responsible to everyone. However, planned economies in the past have been inefficient in many ways, and we need to figure out why and solve it. Some argue that it is impossible to plan an economy. I think we need better strategies in a democratic government. It's obvious that I think it's kind of common sense to get rid of inequality, but other people disagree. PragerU on YouTube argues that inequality appears unfair, but it's good because it's part of an economic system that provides greater advancement for everyone, promotes personal freedom, and rewards hard work. People can become rich if they work hard. We are free individuals making decisions, and inequality is a result of that freedom. Government ownership puts a limit on ambition. But we aren't simply free individuals, we're part of an economy that operates by certain rules. You're born into a certain level of wealth. There are different roles in the economy. You can be a worker or a business owner, and they have a set relationship. The worker works for the business owner. The business owner sells goods on the market and makes a profit and reinvests it. It's a class system that causes inequality. And there's an argument that that's okay because anyone can become rich, but not everyone can own a business. Some people, the majority of people, will always have to be workers. The ability of some people to become part of a ruling class doesn't justify the existence of a ruling class. A system where the vast majority of people are born into very low resource ownership and only some can advance is not a free society. There's also the argument that inequality encourages innovation and benefits hard work. Capitalism has increased innovation compared to previous systems. It rewards people who innovate, or business owners who innovate, because they receive profits. But in this system, only some people receive profits. If we all shared the property, we would all have an incentive to innovate and work hard because we would all see the results of it. Everyone would actually have to benefit from advancement, though not just an elite like in the Soviet Union, and management and planning systems would have to motivate well. A democratic government would go a long way towards this. Maybe we can learn from the successes of capitalism to figure out how to motivate an equal society. This is also not on the whole a system that benefits hard work, because the majority of people work very hard and still own very little. An unequal class system in which you can sometimes gain property by working hard is not rewarding the work of the vast majority of people. I appreciate how starting and owning a business takes work, ideas, and risks. Business owners are contributing to society and advancing themselves. I want to come up with a way for people to have that kind of opportunity to execute ideas and make something for themselves in an equitable system where everyone can do that. I don't see a way around this other than shared ownership. You could argue that a way to keep the benefits of capitalism while creating a more equal society would be to pay workers more. However, ownership would still be concentrated in a small class. To fix that, we could have employee ownership like in a co-op. Businesses and countries would still have different amounts of resources, though. Also, businesses would still be based on the profit system, which until now has not been good at allocating resources based on need. But just because something's never been tried before doesn't mean it can't work. We should think outside the box, focus on the end goal of benefiting everyone as much as possible. At this point, I want to lead based on what I know and continue to develop ideas. So I think that rather than fighting for dominance in the current system, the United States should fight for a new system of common ownership that benefits everyone.